Before jumping, there's a couple things we can do. One is just for you in the house, making sure you're not rewarding it in any way, whether you meant to or not. Petting, giving any attention, and even negative attention. No, off, stop, don't. Pushing them is giving this behavior attention. So we want to make sure we ignore it, and when her feet are on the ground, then we give her the attention she's asking for. Another way that you can work on this in more of a training format is what I'm doing here. So I'm getting her excited, getting her kind of riled up and running and playing with her, and then I'm going to freeze. When she stops, when I stop, as long as she stops with a stand, a sit, I don't care what position she's in, as long as her feet are on the floor, I'm going to mark and reward that. Because she is such an excited, bouncy girl, the other thing I'm going to do right now is even reward her if she does a little bounce but doesn't actually put paws on me. If she just bounces straight up and down, we're going to still reward when she hits the ground because she didn't jump on us. If she jumps and puts paws on you when you're playing the game, as soon as she does, you're just going to stop and start all over. You're not going to do anything. There's no correction needed, and we're not going to reward her. We're just going to go right and try again. So you're just going to keep going and getting her excited, and you can work up to more and more excited. Going backwards, so she's practicing coming into people when she's excited, as well as like kind of running with her beside you or behind you, because she was having a tendency to jump on my side and my back when we first started playing this game. The potty bells have probably been the most difficult thing for Daisy. She will do them, as you'll see here, but she's hitting them so lightly that it's not going to be any help to you if she rings them, because you're not going to know. So right now we're still at this stage in training where we're trying to get her to hit it harder. So what you'll see me doing here is cueing her bells. She hits the bells, and then I'm going to toss a treat away. And this is helping for one reason, just to get her away to come back and reset, but also to give her a little momentum as she's coming back, so that hopefully she's going to start hitting it harder and we can start rewarding specifically when she hits it harder. The other thing you'll see me do in this video is every once in a while, I don't mark and reward the first time she hits it. So she hits it and then I pause and I don't say anything. And then when she comes back and hits it a second time, then I mark and reward. Doing it this way helps for two things. One, encourages her to try again, which typically gets them hitting it harder. The other thing this does is encourage her not to give up. Once you get these bells to the door, what we don't want is her to hit the bells, you not hear it, and then she just gives up and pees in the house. We want her to understand that she can continue to ring it and keep trying until she gets our attention. So that's why you'll see me doing that in this game. So right now you're going to just keep playing this game in training sessions with her until she is hitting it hard enough. Then you'll move this to the door and start doing kind of the same game with the bells hanging on the door, and then move this into kind of real life where you're going to hit the bells, tell her to hit the bells every time you take her out until she picks up that pattern and starts ringing them on her own.
Yes, good.
For come when called, we're going to say, Daisy, come. And as soon as she turns and looks at you, you're going to mark yes. That's going to encourage her to start moving. And then you're going to praise all the way to you, and then reward with a treat. You can practice this in a fenced-in area like a yard or a park area if you have access to that. Otherwise, you can use a long leash to practice this, getting a 15, 20, 30-foot leash like I'm using here, practicing in other green spaces, front yards, backyards, green spaces at the park. You're just going to practice calling her, rewarding her, letting her go back to doing her thing. The other thing that you can do is play a game called the treat toss game, which you're going to see me doing here. So what I'm doing is I'm going to toss a treat away. She's going to go and find it. I'm going to call her, reward her by tossing another treat every time she comes. So in this game, you're like a treat dispenser. Every time she comes to you, a treat gets dispensed. Things to note here is, one, you want to make sure you wait for her to get all the way to you before you throw it again, so that we don't create a dog that stays a couple feet away from us when we ask them for recall, because that's not helpful in an emergency situation.
Yes.
The other thing that's really helpful when playing this outside is using a light colored treat like chicken or cheese. String cheese is my favorite go-to for this. But if you're using brown treats in the grass, she'll have a hard time finding them, and either she's going to give up or you'll just be waiting for a very long time in between each repetition. So this is a fun way to build a lot of repetition in training, while also still getting that practice of kind of coming in real life, but we're making it a fun game. Leave it means stop and back away from the thing you were headed towards. So you can practice this in training sessions by dropping treats one at a time, saying leave it, also practicing by dropping them all. This is really an important piece because this practices real life situations where you drop food or pills, something that is dangerous for our dogs, and we want to make sure that we can tell them to leave it even when food hits the ground and scatters. So you can see me pulling out my acting skills here as well and pretending to drop something to mimic those real life situations. So as much as you can do that for Leave It, that's the best way to practice training, even doing this in places like the kitchen.
Yes, good girl.
Place means go there, lay there, and stay there until released. So you're going to cue her place, send her there, and then periodically reward her as long as she stays on the bed. If she gets up, you're just simply going to send her right back and say place, and then you're going to make sure that you do not reward her right away when you have to send her back like that. When you do that, you're going to send her back to place, make her work for a little bit, add in a little bit of time or a distraction, and then come back and reward her. You can practice this in two ways. One is in a formal training session like I'm doing here, where you can really practice building longer duration between reinforcement, as well as building in distractions, which you'll also see me doing here. I'm doing things like stomping, checking out things on my bookshelf, opening cabinets and doors, walking around at different angles, approaching her. And then I'm just going to periodically come back, reward, and then continue on. You don't have to say place again. You've already told her to place. That treat is just a keep it up. You're doing good work. And then as you practice more and more, you're going to slowly space out how often that treat comes until she doesn't need so many and eventually only maybe needs one at the beginning and one at the end and then one all together. When practicing something that maybe is a little harder, like distractions, you're going to expect that she's going to have a harder time and, get up more often. So in this case, just be ready to break those things down into small steps. So when I first tried doing this distractions with her, I was scooting my feet. That was too hard. So I had to start with scooting one foot and making it as minimal as I could, rewarding her for staying on her bed for that, and slowly building up to the full distraction. Same thing with sitting in the chair. I would practice going over, kind of squat near it, come back, reward her, and slowly build up to actually sitting in the chair. So you're just going to kind of make those into tiny baby steps along the way so that she can be successful. And when you're all done and ready for her to get up, you're going to cue her free. That's her release word. It means she's free to get up and do what she wants. Another way to practice place is in real context where you would want her to place, like during dinner, which you'll see us doing here. So what you're going to do is bring her bed into the area where you have the table that you'll be sitting at, bring it close enough that you can still toss her treats, and then know that over time you're going to be able to move that farther away and she won't always have to be right next to you. But right now she needs to be close by. So you're going to have her close by. When you see her on her bed, you're going to toss her a treat, and then throughout dinner, as you're eating, you're going to be paying attention and noticing. If she stays on her bed, you're going to periodically reward her. If she gets up, you can send her back, tell her to place, and then keep going. And this helps build this idea that these are the contexts we're going to want you to do this in, and build long-term duration. So she actually does a lot better in these contexts than she did in the training sessions, because she's so excited about specifically training that she would get super wound up and have a hard time settling and staying. But during dinner, she would stay on her bed for the duration of the meal, and maybe get up once, but mostly that was if another dog got up. But even then, she did really well with my toddler getting up, moving around, and the other dogs sometimes failing and getting up as well. So this is how you'd practice. Just be prepared to periodically reward her, making sure you're helping her with that. My big tip for that is using a treat that you don't mind touching and touching your own food. So for me, that's string cheese. I don't want to use dog treats in this situation for me because I don't want my hands to smell like dog treats while I'm eating. So I bring 1 to 2 sticks of string cheese to the table with me, open one up, and then periodically I'm just breaking off a teeny piece of cheese. It can be the size of a pea, break it off and toss it over to her as long as she's staying on her bed. Wait means stop and don't go any further. So when you say wait, you're drawing like an imaginary line, and we're telling the dogs they cannot cross it unless we release them through it. So I don't care if they're in a sit down, stand, whatever position, as long as they're not crossing the line. So you can see us practicing there around steps, so you don't have a dog that's tripping you going up and down the stairs. Another really important way to use this is around the front door, whether you're just needing to step out to leave or even pick up a package. We want to be able to tell our dogs, wait. I don't care what else you do. You can go throughout the house and play, do something else, but you cannot cross through this line. When you do want them to cross that line, like I did on the stairs, you can use free, just like you used for a place. It's the same release word. The great thing about weight is that you do not have to release it unless you're letting them cross that line. So like in this case where I'm not letting her go out the door because I'm picking up a package, I'm going to tell her to wait, go out the door, come back in, and I'm going to reward her, but I just move on. I don't have to release her. I don't have to worry about that she's sitting in a perfectly still stay position. I just don't want her crossing that line. Another way I practiced here was testing that if I walk away from the door while the door's open, will she dart for the door or will she stay with me? And she did a great job with this one. Build the practice of this one into your everyday life, whether it's going in and outdoors or picking up packages from the front porch, just to build that repetition into your daily life. All right, let's go. All right, so I'm out on a walk with Daisy, and we're just going to talk about loose leash walking. Yes, so this is not the reactivity stuff to dogs and people. This is just the standard leash walking. Yes. So what you're going to see is the main thing we're doing here is what I would call rewarding good choices. And what that means is, yes, I'm going to mark and reward her anytime she's walking the way I want. So for me, leash walking, it is okay that she can walk right next to me, a little wide and a little in front, as long as the leash is loose. Yes. And if she's walking that way, then I'm going to mark yes and reward her. It's really important when we're doing this that we reward her at our side, the side that you want her on. Yes. So that we're making all the good things happen right here, which is going to help keep her closer. Good choices could be walking in any of those areas that we said were good, or even offering us eye contact. Yes, especially if there is a distraction near. Yes, so you can see she'll start to trot ahead a little bit. She checks in with me to see where I'm at, and then we're going to reward those good choices. Yes, good job. The other important thing to note is when you're rewarding at your side is that we are rewarding with the hand closest to her and not crossing our body with our opposite hand. That will create a dog that is walking more in front of you instead of a dog that is walking beside you. Yes, because they're always going to be trying to meet you in the front if this is where the treats come, right? We want the treats to come at our side. Yes. So even if she's not looking at us, we can still mark and reward that. It's not all about just looking at us because I don't expect her to stare at us for an entire walk. So it's anytime she's walking the way that you want. Other thing is, of course, we want to allow her time to sniff as long as it is within the length of the leash and she's not trying to drag us. Let's go. Yes, sniffing is a really important piece for dogs. It's calming. It's kind of like their meditation. It's also how they view the world and see everything that happens in the world. Yes. And so we want to make sure we allow her that time, again, as long as she's not dragging us somewhere and she is walking within length of the leash. Yes, good girl. So right now, while she's first learning, we're rewarding pretty much 100% of the good choices that she makes. So you'll see I'm rewarding really frequently right now. As she gets better, you're just going to slowly wean that down. Let's go. Yes. You're going to wean it down from 100% of good choices to 75%, 50, 25, right? So on. So you're just going to slowly wean off of how often you're rewarding those good choices, while still rewarding them. Yes. Good girl. That's a good girl. Know that if you're walking her in a more distracting environment, yes, where there are more people and dogs, you're going to have to be maybe rewarding a little bit more often, a little bit more vigilant, especially in a new place like a park versus the neighborhood where she always walks. Right now we are kind of in a low distraction area. We're in my neighborhood and we don't have a lot of people or dogs out because it is raining. So low distraction here. Yes. Right now, this is perfect time for just practicing those regular leash skills, which do help build on what we will need for reactivity because we need her to be paying attention and notice us. Yes, good girl. We're going to see her shaking off a lot here. Yes, just because it is raining out. Good girl. This way. Other cues that we use out on walks, one is this way to mean we're changing directions. Yes, and the other is let's go to tell her we're moving again. All right, so we're back to leash walking here after seeing a trigger. Yes, so what I wanted to kind of show you is now she's a little bit more amped because we saw a trigger. We saw a person, yes, got her a little bit more excited. So I'm gonna go back to rewarding a little bit more frequently. And if she starts to go ahead and pull, yes, good girl, then we will correct that by doing a little turnaround. So what you saw there was she did go to the end of the leash and put a little tension on it, but she did stop when she hit that tension and look at me, and I'm going to reward that. when I do that, yes, make sure you're still rewarding back here at your side, even though I marked her for being in front of me. We never want to reach up and reward. We always want to reward back here at our side. Yes, good girl. So again, you can see, because she's a little bit more amped after seeing a trigger, that she's walking a little bit more in front of me than she was in the beginning of the walk. Good girl. If she were to start to pull, all we're going to do is say this way, and we're going to do a little turnaround, take a few steps, and reset. Good girl. Yes. And then jump right back in to rewarding those good choices as soon as we kind of get her reset and centered. Yes. Good girl. We're also heading back towards home, so I think she knows that, and the rain has picked up a little bit, so I think she is ready to kind of get back inside. Good girl. So overall, this is walking with her. She's doing really great with her basic leash skills, and I don't think it'll take long for you to start going ahead and weaning off of those treats from that 100 to 75 and 50%. Yes. Oop, car coming. We're gonna wait. Yes. And again, yes. Even though she's not really reactive towards cars, I'm going to use that opportunity. Let's go to practice our engage, disengage, and just practice checking in with me when there's any kind of stimuli in the environment. Let's go. All right, so we are out on our walk, and there's a person in the car right there getting in or out of their car. Yes. So we're going to stop right here, and we're going to do some practice. Yes. We're doing engage, disengage, and that is rewarding her for just looking, yes, and not reacting. So when she looks at the thing, whether it's a person or a dog, yes, we're going to mark yes and reward. If she's not looking, we do nothing. We're not rewarding her at this point for just staring at us. We're really pairing seeing people and dogs, yes, with getting a treat from us. Yes. Then what we're going to do as she gets better, and when you have distance like this, we're still a good distance away. I'm going to let her look a little longer and see if she'll turn back to me. Yes. And then I'm going to reward her for making that choice to watch, and instead of reacting, turn back, yes, and check in with me, just like that. So you can give her those opportunities. If at any point you were waiting and she started to bark, move forward, anything like that, then you would go ahead and mark her for just looking, or move her away. Yes. Good girl. This way. We're going to go ahead and cross to this side of the street and see if we can walk past. The woman is in her car, but Daisy's still kind of on it, knowing that she was there. Yes. So we're going to do the same thing as we walk. Know that with engage, disengage, yes, that the closer you are to the trigger, the person, the dog, the harder it is, of course. So, yes, you're going to need to either get space or be ready to reward more frequently. Yes. And even though she's not reactive towards cars, I'm going to use this opportunity of the car to practice still, because it just builds good repetition, yes, of seeing stimuli in the environment and checking in with us instead of reacting the way she normally does. Yes. As I said, the big thing with this is we're going to start at far distances. So like in that case where I saw a person getting into a car, we're just going to stop and wait. We needed to go that direction, so we're going to need to pass. But in the beginning, we're going to just stop, do our engage, disengage, and then move on once it's gone. If that's not an option, then you can try moving past. Yes, good girl. You're getting too wound up now. And then you can try kind of moving her past, but knowing that it's going to be a lot harder when you're in close proximities. So if it's an option to stop and wait or even pull over while the other dog passes, that is always best in the beginning. So here we are practicing at the park. There were we were near a dog park, so there were dogs barking at the park, but there were also a couple people standing not too far away from us with a couple dogs that were barking a lot. They were hounds and they were going crazy. And so this was the perfect time to practice with her. So we kind of stayed back in the beginning.
I know, Daisy, it's hard.
We practiced our engage, disengage. You can see she needed a little bit more help. I had to kind of get in there and get my treat kind of in front of her face a couple times and redirect her away from looking, just because this was a higher stakes situation as far as the dogs barking made this trigger way harder than just a dog walking past or even just a person. So we got a little bit of distance and continued to practice. Then as she gets better, you'll see we walked a little closer and we moved around and continued to practice that engage, disengage. So when I can tell that she is a little bit more amped up, then we're going to make sure that we are marking the engage, which is marking her as soon as she looks at the trigger, the dog, the person. And then when we have more distance, or I can tell she's calmed down a little bit, that's when we're going to try to let her disengage on her own by waiting for her to turn back to us. Again, this is very different than just rewarding her for staring at you. Make sure that you are waiting for her to turn back, then rewarding her. And if she can't turn back, that's okay. That is just information that she is too amped up, that this trigger is too exciting, and that she still needs our help rewarding her for just looking calmly.
I know, Daisy.
Another thing I like to practice with our excited, reactive dogs like Daisy is just doing other things while the exciting thing is happening or nearby. Can you play games with me? Can we do paws up and off? Can you do down? Can you walk up on this barrier? Do different fun games just to keep her attention. And so she's learning how much fun you are and more worried about playing and being with you than she is about the world. That's kind of the biggest thing with our excited reactive dogs is we want them to slowly learn some neutrality about the world, and that, yes, people and dogs exist, but when we go out in the world, our goal is not to meet and see everybody. We are out there together. It's a me and you activity, not a you and the world activity. And so you can see I did a little bit there. Then we kind of perched ourselves up on this little barrier kind of thing. And then practice our engage, disengage from there.
I'll give you a cookie for that. That was a good girl. Nice choice. Nice choice, Miss Daisy. Nice choice. That's a good girl. That's a good girl, Miss Daisy.
Here we're practicing a little bit closer, so I've kind of set us up near a walkway so we can see people and dogs passing, but also that we have space behind us that if we need to get more space, if she starts to pull or lunge, that I can move her away. So you can see that was a lot harder for her. She kind of goes forward, but I'm able to quickly get that yes in there, mark it, and get her to come right back. Over time, as you practice more and more, you'll slowly work on narrowing in that distance that she can do engage, and then also where she can disengage. And after I had her attention from marking the engage a few times, you'll see I start to give her opportunities to disengage on her own by just kind of waiting and not being so quick. Whereas in the beginning, I had to be quick or we would have lost her to barking and lunging. And even if she is seemingly doing fine with a trigger like people passing by more so than dogs, which is what she's doing here, you can see she's very calm. She's able to do the training with me, and she's not overly excited or worried about those people because we've been practicing for a while at this point. You still want to do the engage disengage because we want to continue to build a pattern of when you see stimuli like people and dogs, that is your cue to look back to me. And if we don't do that every time right now, she's not going to pick up the further steps where we can get her to not be reacting at all. And that's a wrap on Daisy's training. And that's a wrap on Daisy's training.